Tonight in Chicago, Michael Brantley brings the fourth best batting average in the American League to Wrigley Field as the Indians look to bounce back after dropping 2 of 3 to the Astros over the weekend in Houston. Maybe Melky Cabrera will help out. He's averaged 14 homers, 83 ribbies in the previous 3 years for Chicago's other team on the south side. Meanwhile, Anthony Rizzo, 8th worst batting average in the National League at 203, but no one batting below 230 has more runs batted in than the 30 for the Cubs' first baseman. Well, hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. What we have here tonight at Wrigley Field is the first time the Cubs are hosting Cleveland since the 2016 World Series. But that's not really the storyline here tonight. What we're here to see is two of the game's best third basemen duke it out head-to-head.
Premier third baseman, as a matter of fact, and they're both having very good months of May. We look at Jose Ramirez, and he just continues to hit the baseball. 6 homers, 15 RBIs in the 17 games in the month of May. Now think about this. Ramirez didn't have his first double until April 23rd. He now is tied for 4th in the American League with 14 doubles. He just continues to get the extra base hits and pound the baseball. On the other side, Chris Bryant, he did not play against the Indians earlier this year. He was out. He was hitting the head with a pitch, and he had to go to protocol. He's back in that lineup now. He is slugging his way through. He's leading the National League in OPS. He's second in on-base percentage. He's 3rd in power. This guy can do it all.
No question about that, and a good pitching matchup. Trevor Bauer will go for the Indians. Tyler Chatwood for the Cubs. Interesting side note, Chatwood has allowed only 1 home run in his 8 starts, and of course the Indians have hit the 3rd most home runs in the American League. We'll be back with tonight's play-by-play, and we'll check in with Andre Knott straight ahead. Cleveland Indians baseball is brought to you by Who But W.B. Mason, the official office supplier of the Cleveland Indians, and by your Northern Ohio Honda dealers. Made in Ohio, Ohio proud. Yes, ultimately it ended in heartbreak, but you can't forget or deny the many fond memories and thrills the Indians gave us along that incredible 2016 campaign. Their first trip back here since Game 5 of the 2016 Fall Classic. And whether it's the breeze blowing in off Lake Michigan or just the meteorological weirdness that has been the 2018 season so far, it's unseasonably cool here at Wrigley Field on this, the 22nd of May. Well, let's go downstairs to Andre Knott, who has more on the story of Jason Kipnis returning home for the first time since that World Series.
Well, Matt, as you know, and many Indians fans know, the last time the Indians were here and leaving Wrigley Field, it was about this temperature, a little cooler, but they had good feelings. They won 2 of 3 in the World Series here. And for Jason Kipnis, this was hometown. This is where a place where he had a home run in the World Series, and it was an idea and feeling that he would never forget, or so he thought. In his first time back here at Wrigley Field since the 2016 World Series, I talked to Jason Kipnis about his feelings and emotions coming back home to play in the park that he grew up hoping and wishing he'd win a World Series in. And tonight's Hear Right sounds of the game.
So, yeah, I'll be seeing a bunch of familiar faces, and this time will be nice that I'll be actually able to say hi, or there's a little less pressure on this one than the last time we were here. But anytime I come back here in Chicago, there's always going to be family and friends, and especially if I come to the north side, there's always going to be memories of the World Series and all that stuff. But I don't think they'll ever go away. But it'll just be further and further of a memory, I think, as we get further and further away from it. But yeah, all those will be memories for the rest of your life. But right now, we're just playing another baseball game.
You have to be able to separate as a ball player. It's easy for us as announcers and fans to look back on that, but as a ball player, you've got to stay in the moment, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. You know, and it's always a night when you can come home and play in front of your friends and family and the club you watch growing up. It's always a treat to come home and do that, and let's hope they can play a good one tonight, because they could use a win here in this ballpark. And Tyler Chatwood will be starting for the Chicago Cubs. He will be the Northern Ohio Hyundai starting pitcher. He is 3-3 on the year. He beat the Indians earlier this year, where he went 6 innings, gave up 4 hits, he walked 5 and struck out 5. Now here's a guy, it's his 9th start. He has allowed just 1 home run in his 43 innings, so he doesn't give up many hits. 6 straight starts, he's given up 4 hits or less. You know, so you got to be patient with him. He will walk you, and you need base runners against him.
Well, let's take a look at the Indians lineup that will try to get on base and disrupt Tyler Chatwood tonight. It's brought to you by Progressive Insurance. For Tito tonight, Francisco Lindor leads it off. Then it's Michael Brantley, red hot right now at the plate. Jose Ramirez bats third. Yonder Alonso, Melky Cabrera, and Jason Kipnis in the middle. Roberto Perez, Greg Allen, and Trevor Bauer, the Tribe pitcher, will bat ninth.
Let's check the defense for the Cubs. That is Schwarber will be in left field, Almora Jr. in center, Zobrist over and right. On the infield will be Bryan at third, Russell is at short, Baez at second, Rizzo at first. Contreras will be doing the catching. They are 13th in the National League in defense. They have made 32 errors, and they have turned 38 double plays.
The umpiring crew tonight: Will Little behind the plate, Ted Barrett, the crew chief at first base, Lance Barksdale at second, Tom Woodring down at third. And so we're ready to go tonight here at Wrigley Field. The Indians lead the American League Central Division by a game over the Twins, despite the fact the Indians come in a game under 500. Chicago, on the other hand, they've won back-to-back games, 6 out of their last 10. They're 25-19 on the season, but currently 2 games in back of front-running Milwaukee in the National League Central Division. Cubs reside in third place, directly behind St. Louis, just a half game back of the Redbirds. Joe Madden, Chicago skipper, eyes Tyler Chatwood's first pitch of the night, and it's in there for a strike.
Chatwood, guy that he's probably effectively wild. You know, he consistently, he'll throw it all over the place.
Curveball in for a strike.
He doesn't give up many hits. 5 times out of his 8 starts, he has walked 5 guys or more.
I suppose, Rick, that has something to do with why he's only averaging 5 1/3 innings per start.
Right. He's going to throw a lot of pitches, but he's a grinder, man. He works hard, and when he's on his game, he'll throw a lot of ground balls.
Swung on and missed. Ball's in the dirt. Wilson Contreras will throw down to Rizzo for the game's first out. Tonight's storylines are brought to you by Wayside Furniture. Make Chatwood get in the zone. You saw Lindor chase a pitch out of the strike zone. Trevor Bauer, good career numbers against the Cubs. Michael Brantley riding a 10-game hitting streak. He drives one high in the air, left center field. Back is Schwarber, the left fielder, right on the front edge of the warning track. 2 down. Our game time temperature here at Wrigley Field is 53 degrees. I mean, it's almost Memorial Day for crying out loud.
I know it.
Fastball strike at the bottom of the zone to Jose Ramirez.
I was going to say it looks a lot nicer than that 53 states, because it's nice and sunny and it's cleared up.
Low and away. Jose Ramirez against right-handed, or actually I should say has driven in 19 runs in his last 19 games. And looks at a pitch down low. Yeah, after a 2-for-33 start, he has been just as consistent as we have seen him throughout his career. Just took him a little while to get going.
He just got off to a rough start. You know, you're going to have a little slump over, what was he, 16 or 17 there to start off. That comes through the year. It's no big deal.
And Ramirez works the count, draws a walk, keeps the bases moving with 2 down, and brings up Yonder Alonso with a chance.
Well, you can tell right there that Chatwood was trying to be careful with Ramirez, even with 2 outs and nobody on.
Wrigley Field, as I'm sure many of our viewers are aware, it is a ballpark that it plays to the elements. And when it's windy and the wind is blowing out, this park is like a bandbox. But on days like today, where the wind appears to be blowing in, although I don't think it's the kind of breeze that's really going to be a huge factor, but the park can play more fair.
Yes.
When you get that, have that breeze blowing in. Top of the strike zone to even the count. Yonder Alonso having a rough go here in the month of May. Batting just 179.
Well, this is the first time I haven't seen 3 guys on the right side of the infield for him hitting. You know, recently every single time Bryant would be at shortstop for the last few weeks, everybody we played.
Bounced way in front of the plate. That's a good 3 feet.
Boy, was it
in front
ever.
of the dish.
I mean, watch where this hits. It's surprising that he was able to keep this in front of him, way out in front. It hits that chest protector and it just goes straight out. So nice job by Contreras.
Is it a little bit surprising to you to not see a shift, given that Joe Madden is one of the guys who is not afraid to put guys in unusual positions defensively?
Well, he's been rolling over on a lot of the pitches on the right side of the infield.
Breaks his bat, dumps it in for a single. Ramirez is all the way to third, and the Indians have runners at the corners with 2 down.
Well, okay. He flared it into right field. It sounded like it broke his bat, but he'll take that base hit. He certainly needs it. And with 2 outs, you have a walk, and then you have a base knock, and you have something rolling here. Melky Cabrera are going to get an opportunity with 2 out.
So Alonso keeps the inning alive, and what a great time for Melky Cabrera to get his first hit as an Indian. just joined the game, the club on Sunday night for the game against the Astros. Went 0 for 3, but had some good at-bats in that game. A game in which the Indians didn't have, well, what, one hit through 7 innings?
Yes. He ended up with 3 hits in the ball game.
Melky Cabrera signed on April 25th, so just about a month spent in the minor leagues. Some of that time was spent prior to getting into game action, just getting himself ready. Kind of like an extended spring training for him. But in the 10 games he played with Columbus, he hit .286, had 4 doubles, drove in 4 runs. And in his career, he's been a very consistent offensive performer. Rolls over on the ball to Rizzo at first, who will take it himself, and the inning is over. No runs, a hit, 2 left. The Cubs are coming to bat.
He's coming off a start where he earned his first road win of the season in Detroit in his last outing. Season high tying 8 innings he pitched. He allowed 4 hits. He did not walk a batter. That's the first time this year. He marked the 11th time in his career where he did not walk a batter. So he also struck out a 10 in that ball game.
Joe Madden's starting lineup for the Cubs looks like this. Ben Zobrist, the switch hitter at the top. Then Albert Almora Jr., Chris Bryant, the third baseman. Anthony Rizzo, Wilson Contreras, Kyle Schwarber. Then Javier Baez, Addison Russell, and the pitcher Tyler Chatwood.
Trevor beat the Cubs earlier this year. He's 2-0 in his career in 2 starts against him with a nice little 0.66 ERA.
Ben Zobrist batting .290 on the year. Trevor Bauer's fastball is up and away, ball 1. Ground ball to first, diving stop by Alonso. Gets to his feet, dives to the bag in time to beat Zobrist for out number 1. Boy, that was a dynamite play by Alonso.
Boy, it sure was. And that's called being ready from the first batter of the ball game, diving to the line. He makes the stab, and he's going to get up and race to the bag, and he's going to go head first again to the base to beat Zobrist to it. Very nice play. Saved an extra base hit there by Yonder Alonso.
First ball swinging and popped up foul ground. Alonso and Kipnis converging near the tarp, but it's out of play.
Ball sort of drifted into the seats there. I thought it might stay in play, but it did not. Not a whole lot of room here in foul territory, especially the farther you go out. And once you get past the infield, there's very little.
That fastball took off on him, and Almora Jr. just backing out of the way. Breaking ball down, and he's able to lay off. Fouled off over toward the Indians dugout. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 down here in the first. Low and away. There have been some renovations to Wrigley Field since we were last here for the Fall Classic in 2016. The 3-2 on its way, and a smash right back up the middle. And the Cubs have a 1-out base runner.
Let's check the Tribe defense for you, brought to you by Jeep. In the outfield, it's going to be Brantley in left, Allen in center, Cabrera is over and right. On the infield, Ramirez at third, Lindor at short, Kipnis is at second, Alonso at first, Roberto Perez doing the catching.
Chris Bryant, the Cubs' third baseman. Eight dingers, 24 driven in.
Yeah, he did not play in the first 2-game series that we played back in Cleveland. He was hit in the head by a pitch, and he was out at that time.
Curveball down low. The most notable changes here at Wrigley since we were here last is the elimination of the bullpens, which were in play. They were in foul ground down the left and right field lines, respectively. In fact, you wouldn't have had the Bartman play.
Right.
Because that area of the bullpen is now just gone. They've extended it to have more seating, which is good for the fans. Kind of a bummer if you're a guy in the bullpen, though, because you're hiding now. The bullpens are located underneath the bleachers in both left and right field, respectively. So those guys are literally watching the game on television monitors, and then they'll emerge from those prison-like doors when called upon.
Yeah. That must be a little strange. Probably the only ballpark that has this, where you can't really watch the game through a fence where you're sitting down.
Almost be like sitting in the clubhouse. Huh?
Sure.
Bryant went fishing. It's 2-2. They also renovated the dugouts, which I'm sure is something that the players are very happy about, because the dugouts here, hey, they were original and they were very small, and it was very cramped quarters.
You couldn't even stand up in them.
away, full count. One on, one out. Chris Bryant. The string out. Runner does not go, and a foul back out of play.
Well, Bryant has walked 24 times this year and struck out 29. Not a bad ratio for a guy that hits for power. And you know, the Cubs don't run a whole lot. They've stolen 15 bases. And they've been caught 7 times.
So we got another foul back and a good at bat here for Bryant.
This again is that ballpark like we talk about when you go to Fenway Park or the smaller ballparks. You don't want to make out any outs on the bases. He elevated the fastball and he put a pretty good swing on it, fouled it straight back.
Did you see the lady in the front row?
I did not.
Right where that foul ball was headed, she threw her popcorn up into the air. The young lady in the white, just to the left of Roberto Perez over his shoulder there.
Gotcha.
She lost a few kernels.
May have to go buy another box.
Watch this. This is pretty funny.
Here it is. Shocker, even though that
Look
netting's
out.
there.
Boom.
There it goes. Got her.
Maybe those were potato chips. Hard to tell. Again, the 3-2 pitch, runner not going, and Bryant bounces it towards third. Ramirez waits back, goes to second. They'll get the force on Almora, 2 down. Good battle won by Trevor Bauer. A lot of times, those are the at-bats that can take a little starch out of a pitcher. And certainly with this Cubs lineup, much like the Indians at the top of it, you can't take a breath because the next guy can hurt you just as badly as the previous. And Anthony Rizzo, while he has hit only .203, he is second on the team with 30 runs driven in.
Yeah, he got off to a really slow start as well. But you know, as this year goes along, you know he's going to get his share of hits.
And he does that too. Hard to sneak a ball inside by him.
He's on the plate and he's so quick inside.
Kia drive to success shows you that in the month of May, Rizzo has been driving him home. And Michael Brantley right behind him. But Brantley does it by hitting for a high average. Slicing foul. You'd have to say Rizzo does it by either A, coming up with the clutch hit, or just finding a way to get that run home from third from time to time, whether it's getting a ball in the air to the outfield, hitting it on the ground, doing whatever it takes.
Find a way to get him in is his philosophy. He'll choke up on the bat, you know, to put it in play and not strike out.
Yeah, it's a pretty dreadful month of May for Rizzo. So he's been steadily climbing his way out of a big early hole. Line, base hit. Bryant will go to third, and Rizzo stops at first. Cubs at the corners with 2 down.
Not what the Indians did back in the first. They got the first 2 out, and they got 2 guys on. This is going to be a breaking ball from Trevor Bauer. Look at it on their Nissan pitch tracker. A curveball away. He stayed back on it, just slaps it over the head of Lindor, who is shifted over on the right side. So a 2-out base hit. Now Chicago will have an opportunity with 2 outs.
And the batter is Wilson Contreras, the Cubs catcher. Could be an early key key at bat for Trevor Bauer, because this will already be his 20th pitch of the inning. And Contreras looks at a breaking ball for strike one. Swung on and missed, and Trevor Bauer quickly gets ahead of him. 0-2.
Back-to-back curveballs. You can see it, but both very good pitches. Outside edge, and now in command of this at bat.
Swung on and missed. He struck him out on 3 pitches. Big final out of this first inning for Trevor Bauer. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left. No score after 1.
MLB.TV. Your subscription includes MLB At Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply.
For the Indians here in the second inning, Jason Kipnis will lead it off. The hometown kid. When the Indians were here in that 2016 World Series, and they won both games 4 and 5 here, Jason Kipnis had a big hand in it. He hit a home run, and there were a lot of fans of his, friends of his, who were here rooting for the Indians just because of Jason Kipnis. And Kip meeting up with various members of his family before the ball game. You're talking about pretty cool thrill. I mean, imagine it would be like a kid growing up in Cleveland, and then next thing you know, you're wearing that team's uniform. But to be able to come back here as a member of the visiting club, just as special.
Well, and you had an off day yesterday. You could go spend some time with family. So it's a nice day to come back home. Always.
Roberto Perez takes a pitch up high, and that's going to send out Wilson Contreras.
Well,
and as you mentioned, this is part of the knock on Tyler Chatwood, the number of walks. That's now 36 on the year in 44 innings of work.
Yeah, and you know what? That's the toughest thing I think about hitting this guy. You have to try and make him get the ball up because he's all over the place, but sometimes it's inconsistent. And you don't know what to sit on or look for. And it reminded me a lot when he pitched against him back in Cleveland. You have to remain patient.
And the toughest thing for Roberto Perez to do right now, because he has been mired in such a prolonged slump. Just 3 hits in his last 34 at-bats.
Yeah, he has really struggled so far this year offensively.
And when you're not an everyday player,
right,
that 3 for 34 must feel like 3 for 104.
It does, because you're not playing every day. Now you see, he went from where he was playing a lot, then Gomes started to swing the bat and get some base hits, and he started catching a lot more. And where Perez right now is only catching Trevor Bauer, so that's once every 5 days as he's getting an at bat.
You know, Rick, it's funny that you said Jason Kipnis could see family and friends yesterday on the off day. I asked him the same thing. He said no. I hid in my hotel room and slept all day yesterday.
Okay.
He just said, he goes, what can I talk to him about? He goes, it's nice to see him. It's nice to be around him, but I got a job to do. I want to get hot and start hitting the baseball.
Sleep?
Yeah, so he slept. His brothers, though, did come meet him in Houston. Hung out with him a couple days in Houston before he came home, knowing he just wanted to come here and play baseball when he got to Chicago.
Okay. Well, there wasn't a lot to do yesterday with the way the weather was. It was raining all day long.
And that wasn't just rain. That was torrential downpour.
Yes, it was.
To 1 pitch. Off the end of the bat to first. Rizzo to second. There's one. Back to first. A double play.
Now this is just going to be a routine play for Rizzo. He gets the ball quickly, able to get it to Russell on a good throw, and he just goes right back to the bag for the easy 3-6-3 double play. There's Waldo.
Oh my, there's a pitch up and away to Greg Allen, ball 1.
Been looking for him all night.
I bet you have. He's been looking for you.
Yeah, he probably has.
Up and away, 2-0.
Well, if you can, and you're Allen hitting in that 8th spot, you'd love to get on base so you can get at least Bauer to the plate here and not have him lead off the next inning.
Just barely a strike, 2-1. Greg Allen, last 6 games, has 7 hits. Swings through it, 2-2. Just missed outside and a little low, full count. So as you say, this is a big strategical at bat, because
it helps.
You'd like to get Bauer to the plate here and not have him leading off.
Absolutely.
And it's ball 4.
There you go.
Oh boy, Tyler Chatwood probably wants to eat his hat right now.
Well, I mean, if you can, sometimes, you know, it really doesn't make a big deal. But if you can get your pitcher out of the way where he's not leading off the inning, because, you know, for the most part, it's going to be 0 for 1. You're going to have 1 out, nobody on to start your inning. And now you can get him out of the way.
That's already 3 walks tonight.
I know. We're in the 2nd inning.
Jim Hickey, pitching coach, probably thinking to himself, well, we've seen this act before.
A number of times.
So here's Trevor Bauer. Bauer, a couple of years ago, gave us one of the most entertaining at-bats we've ever seen. He imitated 3 different teammates in one at bat in a game in Pittsburgh against the Pirates, and the end result was he drew a walk. It's a heck of an at bat. He fouled some pitches off. He literally did not look like a fish out of water, but like a guy who really had a plan and knew what he was doing. But he said today, or the other day when they asked him about, like, hey, that was a one-time deal. You can't bring that back out.
Just keep taking until you get to 2 strikes if you're Trevor Bauer. Now, Bauer has 1 hit in the big leagues, and it came right in this ballpark in 2015 against Jake Arrieta.
Right up the middle.
Yep. So right now, if you're him, take till you get 2 strikes.
Chops it to short.
Right.
And the lob throw to first ends the inning. No runs, no hits, a man left. We go to the bottom of the 2nd. No score in Chicago. In the first game of a series, this has been a problem, Arch. The Indians are just 5-11 on the year. They're averaging better than 4 runs a game, but the ERA has made it tough to get on a roll.
Well, lost 6 straight, 9 of the last 10 on openers, and that makes it a little bit tougher on you to try and win the series when you're doing that. And they've been bad at that on the road, that's for sure.
Now you take that and you look at the Cubs. All right, Chicago comes in here 25-19, and right now, given the state of the AL Central, if the Indians were 25-19, you'd be thrilled. But at 25-19, the Cubs are certainly not in panic mode. They're only 2 games out of first place. Everybody's pretty tightly bunched together in their division. But Chicago's a hard team to figure out too. They have the best run differential in the National League. They are plus 72. But that's because 8 times this year, in 8 of their wins, they've outscored their opponents by 8 runs or more. So they've had 8 blowout wins. The rest of their games, it's a flip of the coin for them.
Right.
Kyle Schwarber swings at the first pitch, drives it to deep left center field, and Greg Allen makes the catch shy of the ivy for out number 1.
Well, as you guys talk about the record on the first game of series, I brought that up to Terry Francona, and he said to me, he compares it to when we asked him about Carrasco pitching well on the road. He doesn't have a rhyme or reason for it. He just says you got to play better. He says, and it tells the same thing to Carrasco when it's about pitching at home. When you play well, you pitch well, you win there. He says, we have to play better in the first game of series. He goes, but he can't make a big deal of it because he doesn't want it to be a big deal. He always wants them to play good baseball.
Javier Baez takes a pitch down low. I mean, sometimes there are trends that are just impossible to understand why they evolve the way they do.
Right.
Just like, you know, Carlos Carrasco. Why is he so good on the road? Who knows?
Well, you try and figure, and it's different every year. You know, you may go one year where you're playing well, and maybe you are winning your first game of the series, but you're still not winning series.
Up the middle, and I'm not sure if Kip might have heard footsteps there. If he thought Lindor was closing in on it fast, I don't know that he had a play anyway.
He would not have if he was able to backhand that ball. He might have found it, and maybe he was trying to pop up to get that ball and try and make a throw, but I don't think he would have had a chance at Baez, so it's going to go as a base hit.
So a 1-out single for Addison Russell. And unless Bauer can induce a double play ball, the Cubs will end up in the same scenario as the Indians. They'll have their pitcher bat here in the second inning without having to lead off. But let's wait and see if Bauer can get the 2-for-1. Russell hitting 8th, but has 10 doubles on the year.
Two for 6 in his career against Trevor.
Pitch is outside. 2 balls and a strike. Hugging that outside edge, but Russell won't bite, especially with the count tipped in his favor. He doesn't have to go out and expand the zone, so he's able to just kind of let that one go by.
Yeah, those are those borderline pitches where if you're hitting in the National League and you have the pitcher behind you, you're better off taking them, because, you know, if they're called balls, and that's fine. You can give away a lot of at bats hitting in this spot in the National League.
Just did catch the outside corner. Bottom of the zone at the knees.
Well, that looked pretty much like the same place as the last one. But this is a fastball here. And there you have it. He calls it right on the corner, right at the knees. So he's back in business. 3-2 count. I want to see if he starts Baez here with Russell up. Why wouldn't you?
He goes. Swing and a miss. And Roberto drops the ball, so no throw. Down to second. A steal for Baez, and instead of a chance at a strike him out, throw him out double play to end the inning, you'll get the pitcher Tyler Chatwood batting here in the second.
This has happened, you know, a lot recently to the Indians catchers, where in the transfer they've been dropping the ball. I don't know if it's because they think you have to get rid of it that much quicker, but in that transfer, I'm not saying he would have got him, but he was off and running, and he had an opportunity. They do get the second out, though, and it's Trevor's second strikeout.
Pitch is outside, fastball to Tyler Chatwood, who takes for ball 1. Now, Chatwood on the year is 2 for 10 at the plate. He has a couple of runs batted in. He has struck out 3 times in his 10 at bats, so seems to be a guy that has a pretty decent feel for what he's doing.
You know, we were here early today and watching, you know, the Cubs pitchers, and all National League pitchers get an opportunity to take batting practice and hit when they're here. And I was watching them, and, you know, some of them put some pretty good swings on. Now, look, I know it's batting practice, but they practice it every single day. In the American League, you guys, they may go to a cage and bunt a couple of days before they do it, or take a few hacks, and that's about it in the American League. That really, it really does drive me nuts when they don't hit, or when they have to hit when they come to National League parks.
Two-one to first, caught by Alonso, inning over. 2 scoreless here in Chicago. Some of the notable names on the injury list around the majors: Joe Mauer, sidelined for Minnesota. D. Gordon, the center fielder for Seattle, dealing with a big toe injury. Rich Hill has a blister problem.
Again.
And a couple of Nationals down for Washington.
Yeah, Howie Kendrick out for the season. He tore a right Achilles.
Once again, Indians fans with a very strong showing here at Wrigley Field. Chief Wahoo and Indians gear very prominent on the city streets of Chicago since we arrived here. Third inning, it'll be the top of the order for the Indians: Francisco Lindor, Michael Brantley, Jose Ramirez. First time through the order, only 1 hit for the Tribe, but Tyler Chatwood walked 3 batters. We'll see what, if any, adjustments the Tribe has made second time around.
Well, and that's basically how he pitches. He doesn't give up many hits, you know, and that's because he walks enough guys, and he's just tough to center on. Only 1 time has he given up more than 4 hits in a start this year.
Francisco Lindor began the month of May like a house on fire. He was batting .472 before his recent 3 for 24 slide. But still, overall on the year, he comes in batting .298. Dozen homers, 14 doubles.
It's tough to stay as hot as he was for so long. I mean, for a whole month. You know, you look at Frankie, he has 10 2-hit games, 6 3-hit games, and 1 4-hit game. So he's been getting multiple hits. And, you know, that's energy at the top of this lineup is what it is. And he
Just draw.
is on.
Yeah, leadoff walk.
See, that's where you don't want that pitcher to lead off the inning. You get your leadoff man, and now they have a start to the inning. 4th walk now.
You know, Rick, we have talked a number of times throughout the years about baseball's unbreakable records. And when it comes to the subject of Ted Williams, the last man to bat over 400 for a season, I think we're all pretty much in agreement. It's going to be very difficult for somebody to come along and ever do that again.
Right.
How about this? I mean, will we see a guy hit 370 for an entire season again? I mean, you got to wonder. It seems like it's getting more and more difficult for guys to sustain an average of above 350 for a whole year.
That's true. It is.
Tell me that story once again. When you were playing, and you might have been in Milwaukee at the time, George Brett won the batting title, and the guy
About 390. Cecil Cooper finished second. He was like 362 or something like that.
30-plus points behind him.
I know it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know. You're probably right, because, you know, and maybe it's because you face so many different pitchers throughout the course of the year. You know, every team now has 7 or 8 relievers.
I think it has to be something to be considered.
And you're not facing that starter 3 to 4 times a start. Rarely do you face a starter 4 times, and if you do, he's dealing, and he's a good one.
I mean, right now, as we enter play today, Mookie Betts is leading all of baseball with a 365 average. The next closest guy to him is a 348. Off the glove of Contreras, but Lindor did not get a good read on it, so he didn't break.
You know, he didn't realize how far it bounced away from him, and once you stop, this guy's got a cannon behind the plate, but he could have made it if he started out. You know, it's easier to see where that ball escapes from a catcher when you're on second base, because you have everything centered. When you're at first, you're on an angle, and sometimes you just don't really get a good eyesight or how far that ball deflects away, but he could have been there.
Meanwhile, it's 3-0 for Brantley. He's taken all the way. And finally a strike from Chatwood, who's had a tough time finding the zone here in inning number 3.
Well, he throws the cutter 3-0, because right now he's having a tough time commanding his fastball, and he's throwing more balls than strikes, many more.
Brantley, by the way, a 359 hitter against right-handed pitching. Among American League hitters, that's the best in the business.
Well, that's amazing. 27 balls and 18 strikes right now. That's why Brantley took that pitch. He's going to make him throw 3 in a row.
Lindor not running. And the 3-2 pitch banged into right field. And Frankie is going to hit second and hold right there. He had to stop and let that ball go through. Otherwise, he goes all the way to third.
Usually the rule of thumb is there, Matt, if you're a base runner and you have to wait for that ball to go through, you're probably not going to get to third base. Especially that ball was hit pretty hard, and you can come in and cheat as a right fielder, even though Ben Zobrist is an infielder / outfielder. But if that ball's behind you, you're going to go to third base.
Arch, I know you're not going to tell me the complete truth, but how hard is it in Michael Brantley's situation to take 2 strikes, knowing that you guys want to get some run start, even though the pitcher's all over the place?
Well, for Michael, I don't think it's hard, because he's not afraid to hit with 2 strikes.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And what's he do? He makes him throw that 3rd strike. Hey, he's not throwing strikes. He's all over the zone. Force him to throw strikes, and then you're going to get a strike to hit, and he did on the 3-2 pitch.
I agree with you. I just think for most hitters, I hear you say it all the time, and I don't disagree, but I think for a lot of hitters, that's a difficult task to sit up there and
because they get greedy, and they want to hit homers, and they just want to do too much. You got the pitcher where you want him. Force him to make a change.
I want to see how that translates to Jose Ramirez. He just swung at a pitch way out of the zone after he walked his first time up. And then he just watched Brantley really work the count well. But then here he goes way out of the zone.
On a breaking ball, on a cut fastball or something like that. Look at don't help him out. He's in trouble now trying to throw strikes. When you help him like that, that gives him confidence. If he can get an out on a pitch out of the strike zone, that'll make him feel better about himself.
Oh man, what a stab by Contreras. That ball was moving down and away.
This guy has made about 3 or 4 good stabs. Now watch the movement.
I don't know how he catches this, really.
Watch the movement. It's running in.
Got your glove turned Oh, man.
That didn't feel too good on his thumb, I wouldn't think.
2-1. Ramirez booms it deep right, but foul down the line, hooking in front of the pole. All right, so now we're back to even at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ramirez, 19 RBIs last 19 games, so he's been producing with the 31 overall runs batted in on the year to lead the club. So understandably, he wants to hit, wants to swing the bat. But he's trying to balance that with don't help this guy out.
I mean, it is hard to hit. This guy's tough to face.
Ripped, but foul again.
It's hard to sit on any one location with him because you just never know what you're going to get.
I think Ramirez asked Will Little for just give me a few extra seconds because I think that one stung his hands a little bit. It's cool here tonight. It may be hard to translate to folks viewing back home in Cleveland, but 53 degrees at game time, and you get one off the end of the bat. He's feeling it in those fingers right now, and he asked Will Little, can you just give me another minute?
The bees are out in Chicago.
Driven deep right field. Back is Zobrist. He's at the wall. It's gone into the basket. Jose Ramirez with a long 3-pointer, and the Indians take the lead.
He kept toying with Ramirez inside, and he pulled a couple foul, but he didn't get away with this one because Jose pulled the hands in beautifully, and he hits his 14th home run. Watch the hands. Look at that's down and in, man. He just pulled him in and dropped the barrel head of that bat out there for a 3-pointer.
I bet he didn't feel any bees on that sting.
He didn't feel a thing. That felt beautiful. Only the 2nd home run given up by Tyler Chatwood this season.
And the first one he gave up, I think, was in his 3rd start of the year. So it's been a while for him. And yeah, no, it's the 2nd start of the year. So back on April 10th was the last time he gave up a home run.
Yeah, in Pittsburgh, right. And that's the only time he gave up more than 4 hits in any start this year. It was 9 to Pittsburgh. That's when they were swinging it well early in the year. But a nice start here. That 2nd time through the lineup. The leadoff walk, a base hit after he fell behind him, and then Ramirez catch him.
Alonso fouls one back on a 3-0 pitch, and it's 3-1. And that's also, I think, a direct result of what Ramirez's home run did. Now you have 3 on the board. Now you're sitting 3-0. If you like it, go ahead and give it a rip. Now he lines one toward right center field. That's going to drop for a hit. 3rd straight hit in the inning for Cleveland.
Let's check a little slow motion swing here. Down and in. See how quickly that barrel head of the bat gets out in front. And there it is, just under 100 miles an hour going off the bat, right in to the basket. Beautiful.
That looked like the design of that pitch was supposed to be one of those 2-seam comeback fastballs, but it just didn't have a lot of movement to it. It stayed right on the same plane, and Ramirez barreled it up.
But he toyed inside with Jose a couple of pitches before that. He lined one foul, hit another one over there. He was boom, boom. He got him closer and closer until he made a mistake.
Well, this is our first opportunity to call a game since Melky Cabrera joined the big league club. He began his Indians career on Sunday night in the game against the Astros. Grounded out with 2 aboard and 2 down in the 1st inning. What do you like about what he potentially can bring to this lineup?
He's a veteran player. He hits from both sides of the plate. He's very consistent, much like Lindor and Ramirez. He can hit a fastball. We've seen him for years, and yes, when you look at his career numbers, he can hit.
And I mentioned this when the Indians signed him. He doesn't at least appear to be a guy who's, you know, really over the hill. He's not all that old, and just a year ago he hit 17 home runs,
Right.
drove in 80 some odd runs. So
there you go.
takes his walk, and it is unraveling on Tyler Chatwood here in the third. He's faced 5 and has not retired a batter. That's going to bring out Jim Hickey, the pitching coach, and the Cubs have activity in the bullpen already, as left-hander Mike Montgomery is getting loose for the Cubs.
Hey, Matt, Rick, when it comes to Melky Cabrera and talking to Terry Francona today, he says what he's going to do is he's going to play him. He wants to see what he has. He's going to find out. He's going to put him out in the outfield, get him some at-bats and see where he fits and how he fits. He's not going to mess around with him. He wants him to play. He wants him a part of this order. And the one thing that stood out to me that he brought up, he wants to help him level out the lineup, basically. He likes having another switch hitter that he can put at that 5-hole, 2-hole, wherever he can put it between his lefties, he's going to put Cabrera.
And I think, yes, and that's what I'm saying. He can fit in the middle part of the lineup. He's a nice fit anywhere you want to be. You know, he's hit at the top part before in his career. He's hit in the middle part, so he should help this lineup, no question.
2 on, nobody out. Indians up 3, and Jason Kipnis and the Tribe trying to knock Chatwood right out of the box.
5 straight have reached. And still remained patient. Already 5 walks were in the 3rd inning. He walked 5 in his first start against the Indians, but was able to pitch around it.
Well, that, if I remember right, that was the game where the Cubs jumped Josh Tomlin early. Gave him a lot of run support.
Yes, they did. Yeah, that game ended up being a 10-3 game.
Now, Jason Kipnis with a walk in the 2nd inning has now reached base safely in 11 straight games. Kind of a half swing. Chatwood off the mound will flip it to first. They get the first out of the inning, but it works like a sacrifice bunt. You get 2 men in the scoring position now.
Well, after we finish this series here in Chicago, we will head home for the weekend starting on Thursday, but get your weekend started off right Friday. Dollar Dog Night out at the ballpark. You can enjoy pregame in the district. And then after the ball game, we're going to have a fireworks display. Visit Indians.com for your tickets.
So the Cubs bring the infield in for Roberto Perez, who grounded out his only time up. And he takes a pitch.
This is an at-bat here, Matt, where you have an opportunity to get one more in here without having to get a base hit. The infield's playing in.
Leans back from a curveball that misses inside. It's 1-1.
Before Allen hits, because after Allen is the pitcher, of course. So very important spot right here. You got to try and get that 4th run on the board.
Almost to the backstop.
Well, he's all over the place.
A number of times tonight, Contreras has saved pitches from going to the backstop already.
He's like a goalie. He's all over the place.
Eddie the Eagle, Eddie Balfour, in the old days. High fly ball.
Attaboy.
Deep enough to right to get the run home. Zobrist makes the catch. Alonso will score. Going to 3rd on the play is Cabrera, and there are now 2 down in the inning. It's 4-0 Cleveland as Roberto Perez picks up his 4th run batted in on the year.
Well, good job there. That's getting the job done. Doing what you had to do. Sacrifice fly. You know, that's what you build on right there. You get your job done. You may not be hitting the ball, but you get the RBI.
So that'll bring up Greg Allen, who is the 8th man to bat in the inning. Tyler Chatwood, over 70 pitches already in the game, and the bulk of them have come in this laborious third inning.
Look at that, man.
Contreras again.
I mean, the way he's throwing the ball today, he'd be tough to try and say intentional walk and go to the pitcher, because he may not be able to throw a strike. Look at that one, another one out front. That's 2 out there.
That one definitely saved him a run. He's closing in on a 40-pitch inning.
Well, and he's still, I mean, the ratio of balls to strikes is crazy. This is, it's hard to watch for those guys.
Well, here's the tail of the tape.
How about
Yikes.
that? 43 balls and 30 strikes in 3 innings.
Oh my. And now Joe Madden, even though it's the pitcher coming up, he's got to be wondering, how much longer do I give this guy? How about not anymore?
No, he's seen enough. You can't, you know what? You're down 4. This is a ball club that can score 4 runs. It's still early enough. But he can't watch it anymore. He's got to go get them.
2 2/3 innings for Tyler Chatwood in his start here tonight. That is his shortest outing of the season.
Absolutely.
Indians have put up a 4 spot. The Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen for the left-hander Montgomery. We'll be right back. Plate appearance here tonight. This was back in Pittsburgh a couple of years ago, when in one at bat, Trevor Bauer imitated 3 different teammates. He imitated Mike Aviles, Ryan Rayburn, and Jason Kipnis throughout one at bat, which lasted quite a while because he fouled some pitches off, and eventually he drew a walk.
It was beautiful.
It was entertaining.
Yes, it was.
Mike Montgomery on for the Cubs, the left-hander. Trevor Bauer, meanwhile, the 9th man to bat in the inning for the Indians. And Montgomery quickly restoring order.
Well, fans are
by
just
throwing
happy to
strikes.
see, back-to-back strikes to a batter. They like that.
I mean, 74 pitches for Tyler Chatwood, and out of the 74, only 30 were strikes tonight. And off the plate. And that is strike 3 called. The inning is over, but not before the Indians strike here in the 3rd. Jose Ramirez, his 14th home run of the year, a 3-run smash, and the Indians are on top 4-0. That all the fun early, and now Trevor Bauer working with a 4-run cushion goes to work against the top of the order for the Cubs, second time around. First time through, the Cubs were 3 for 9 against Bauer with 3 singles. Struck out a pair, did not walk a batter. Well, before we get the inning underway, I want to send out our sincere condolences to the family of Marie Hostetler of Defiance, Ohio. She passed away recently, Arch, 102 years old. A huge Indians fan, watched every night. Think about this. She was around for Cleveland baseball, all 3 ballparks, League Park, Cleveland Stadium, Progressive Field.
Yes.
She was around for when baseball was only played on the radio and we weren't available. And she was around for both Cleveland World Championships in baseball.
Well, condolences to the family. We also have to send our condolences out as well to former Indians manager Dave Garcia.
That is correct. Ground ball to first. Alonso will take it himself, and a guy you had great admiration and respect for.
Yeah, came in as a coach in '75 with Frank Robinson then, and you know, all those guys back then, Buddy and Kuiper and Fosse, and everybody knew him, and it's a sad day, but he was a good man. He lived a great life, 97 years old. So
yeah,
our condolences to his family.
Here is Albert Almora Jr. He singled right up the middle in the first inning. And Trevor Bauer with a curveball a little bit low, ball 1. Line foul the other way. And that fastball misses up high. 3-1. Jam shot, center field. Coming in is Greg Allen. He'll make the catch. 2 down. Our great clip of the game brought to you by Great Clips. Trevor Bauer in his last time out was dynamite.
Oh, man.
8 innings, 4-hit shutout baseball, punched out 10, did not walk a batter.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about it. Didn't walk anybody, stayed aggressive. That was the first time this year that he didn't walk a batter.
Well, you know, the thing that stood out to Trevor in that start was the slider that we saw so much there with the strikeout. He said he finally had the horizontal movement that he was looking for, that he's been looking for all season. And 33% of his swings and misses came from that pitch that game. And I mentioned that number because 34.5 of his swings and misses comes with his curve. What that means from his perspective is he's finally getting the curve and slider to match each other. And when I bring up horizontal, that gives him something different and something moving away from righties and into left-handed bats.
Well, he threw 2 curveballs and then the slider to get a strikeout today earlier.
Yes.
I think it was to Contreras.
So he's finally getting into the other thing that I brought up to him is a changeup. You guys know the opponent's only hitting 160 against it. He smiled at me and he says, "Don't tell everybody. I'm trying to save that one for later."
That ball's hit hard, deep. Back is Cabrera looking up, and it's off the ivy. Backed up by Greg Allen, and into second base with a 2-out double is Chris Bryant, his 15th 2-bagger of the year.
Well, that ball was smoked right there, but it did stay in the ballpark, and then Milky took a sort of a bad route to it. You'll see him go to the wall, and he'll turn around, and he really didn't have a beat on it, so it gets over his head, and watch, goes over his other shoulder. See where you turn your back right there, and he sort of lost where he was on the outfield there.
Well, and you don't want to slam into the brick.
No,
so
no, not the ivory.
I can understand how you get a little, maybe you gingerly go up.
Yes, you see, he feared the wall right there, and he had another step or 2 to get back. But that ball was smoked. But not, you're right. The bricks out there you don't want to run into.
Anthony Rizzo, base hit his first time up. And the ball's in the dirt, blocked nicely by Roberto Perez. You know, I don't know if it's a case of just romanticizing the past, but there's something about this ballpark that's unique with regards to the late afternoon sunlight and how it illuminates this ballpark, maybe unlike any other. You know, for the hitters, the backdrop, the ivy is illuminated by that fading sunset.
Yeah.
Some of the fans out in the bleachers catching the last few moments of sunlight here on a early evening start, and you've got the sun that creeps through the section between the lower deck and the upper deck, and it casts a little bit of sunlight over towards first base, and you see the shadows moving as people are walking back and forth along the concourse. It's something unique because this ballpark is so old.
And we'll see it a little later tomorrow because it's a 1 hour later start.
Yeah.
But you're right. And I think those people out in the bleachers are happy that sun's still out on them.
Now the 2-1 to Rizzo. In the air, left field. Running over Brantley. Makes the catch. No runs, a hit, a man left. We've played 3 at Wrigley Field. It's the Indians 4, the Cubs nothing.
they've put up, and now the dugouts are like 40 feet down the line. You just feel like you're kind of a long way away from home plate. But they've done a lot. It's kind of adds to everything and what Wrigley brings.
Certainly a unique environment.
Well, the only two left, Fenway Park in the American League, and Wrigley right here.
I'll give you a quick story. So back in 2016 for the World Series, we were here. It was game 3. So Murph, our producer, myself, our photographer at the time, we've got to make our way down to the field for the post-game interviews. But what MLB does is they bring you down before the game's over in the last half inning. But here at Wrigley, there's no way to go underneath and get to the field. You have to go through the stands.
Right.
So Murph, our producer, he's 6'5". Me and our camera, we're standing down there behind the Indians dugout in front of fans who paid ungodly amounts of money for these tickets. And we're standing there in front of them because that's where Major League Baseball has told us to stand, because that's how we're going to get on the field as soon as the game's ended. I can't tell you what those people were yelling at us.
Well, Murph's always in the way.
It was one of the most uncomfortable 10-minute periods of our life.
I believe he told you that he paid for that ticket and he paid for you to get out of the way.
Yeah, probably something like that. Were you with us too? No, you were down in the dugout.
I came, but I was down there, but I came and met you guys for that to get back down here because there wasn't room for me then.
Oh, that guy, I mean.
Oh, it was nasty.
Yeah. And I was actually the voice of reason, because one member on our crew, not Andre, not myself, the other party will remain nameless, he wanted to choke the guy out.
And I'll be honest, I kind of wanted him to. So.
But again, it's a ballpark that's very unique. You know, all the new parks, you can go underneath, near the clubhouse, and there's a separate entrance for the umpires. Not here. You got to go through the dugout. And they weren't going to let us go through the dugout in the World Series.
It's still very unique, Matt. I went over to the Cubs clubhouse before tonight's contest just to see what it's all about, because you keep hearing about it. And when I tried to come back out, they wouldn't let me back out. And I said, well, where do I go? Guy pointed to a double door. I went out in the double door. I was almost standing outside. I wasn't in the park anymore.
He's trying to throw you out. He was a smart man.
Go out there to Clark Street, hang a left, and keep going.
I saw a couple places to go to eat, and I was like, this isn't where I'm supposed to go.
Top of the order for the Indians here in the 4th inning. Mike Montgomery on in relief. The 1-2 to Lindor is popped up right side of the infield. Back goes Baez, the second baseman, now in a shallow right field to pull it down. Our stat of the game is brought to you by Buick. I mentioned the National League run differential leading Cubs are plus 72. Look at how the Astros plus 98. That's because their pitching has been so good.
Exactly. It's unbelievably good.
And look at how wide the gap is, Art, between the top 3 and then the Angels, Indians, and Mariners.
Right.
But as long as you're on the plus side, it doesn't matter by how many, as long as you're
winning games.
Put them in the W column. And the Indians just have not been able to get on a hot spell for any kind of extended period of time.
Well, this year they haven't been able to put everything together at one time yet. They're starting pitching to match with their bullpen, and then to match with your offense, where you're firing on all cylinders. That just hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, early in April, the pitching was phenomenal. The offense was MIA.
That and the bullpen was good. Right.
Then the bullpen slid, and the hitting went off the charts. And then the starters had their little funk. And it's just, you're right, they haven't had a week or 10-day period where they've all been hitting on all cylinders together.
I mean, it's going to come. And the sooner the better, because you need something to spark this club here. And I'm thinking about this series, the 2 games we're playing here, and then you go back home and you have 4 against the world champs in Houston. You got to start playing better baseball and try and win some of those games and get rolling.
But other than those games, these 2, the next 4 against the Astros, the bulk of the next several weeks is against the Central Division.
Right.
And that's where they have to play well. 3-2 foul back. They nearly got swept in Detroit, which was disappointing, if not for Trevor Bauer's great performance in the finale and the offense coming to life. But Twins, you'll see the White Sox Tigers again. Payoff pitch. Brantley with a smash by a diving Rizzo and into right field. Second hit of the night for Brantley, who really has been swinging the bat well. Right now, we're going to take a look at our Quicket Loans Rocket Mortgage breakdown. And for the Indians, against teams that are under 500, they've dominated. Above 500, they've struggled.
Yeah.
But they have gone 10-5 against the Central, even with the losing 2 out of 3 to the Tigers. When Michael Brantley takes his lead off of first base, the last remnants of the fading sun are directly in his eyes. So he's kind of using his hand to try and block that sunlight. That's what it looks like for him. Down and in. Oh, way out in front of it.
Big slow hook there. 78 miles per hour. And way out in front.
Jose Ramirez walked in the first, and then in the third, he clubbed a 3-run homer to right field off the right-handed starter, Tyler Chatwood. Now with the lefty Montgomery in there, Ramirez bats from the other side of the plate, pulls it foul. Slowly chopped.
Well, you can see what they're doing with Jose. They're not giving him a fastball. It's all changeups and curveballs. And you can see he is out in front. He likes to get out there. He likes to hit, but this changeup's down. Very good spot, but he gets enough of it. Lives for another pitch.
That just reminded me of something that I wanted to ask you. Wanted to bring it up specifically on the telecast tonight. Lance McCullers on Sunday night pitched a gem against the Indians. He threw twice as many changeups as was his season average going into that start. Does that sound alarms to say, well, there's the sort of the blueprint to how do you beat this Indians lineup?
Well, a lot of changeups, and you watch. More teams will do that because you know how everybody copies and they see scouting reports and they watch film and they watch video. How do you get this guy out? And if it's by changeups, they will definitely see it until you make adjustments to it. You know, McCullers normally is the slider master. You know, he's slider, slider, slider. But you know what? He went with that changeup, and he had a good one.
2-2.
Another changeup.
Ramirez pops it up. The shortstop Baez, or the second baseman Baez, excuse me, makes the catch. 2 down.
Well, the Indians are waiving ticket fees for this weekend's games. You can purchase tickets to this Friday, Saturday, or Sunday by tomorrow night, and you'll pay no ticketing fees no matter what the seats or tickets that you select. The offer only lasts until tomorrow at midnight. So get your tickets now at Indians.com.
So 2 down for Yonder Alonso, who is 2 for 2 tonight. 2 singles and a run scored. And that has to do him a world of good from a confidence standpoint. He had been 1 for his last 13 at the plate coming into tonight. Low and away.
Yeah, he was the only guy to get a hit that first time through the lineup.
Yeah, the start to this game was hard to sort of get a handle on how it would play out, because Tyler Chatwood, first time through the lineup, only gave up the 1 hit, but he walked 3, and yet he didn't give up a run. But starting with the 3rd inning, he didn't retire a batter until the 6th hitter of the inning. And by then it was pretty certain his night was going to be over quickly.
Well, and now you see there's 3 guys over on the right side. With the left-hander out there, probably going to see a lot of breaking balls where he'll roll over. But the first time up, they kept Bryant over at 3rd base.
Low, and not by much, but just maybe a ball width below the zone. 3-1. If those two are together, it might be a long night. There you see Bryant, the 3rd baseman, over on the second base side of the bag, swing and a miss, full count. Runner goes, payoff pitch, bounced in front of the plate. And that is the 7th walk of the night for Chicago pitching. Two on, 2 out for Melky Cabrera. He'll turn around and bat right-handed. Missed inside.
Right now it seems like he's having a tough time spotting his fastball. He has more consistency with his slider and his changeup.
Melky with a shot by a diving Chris Bryant. Down the left field line it goes. Scoring is Brantley. Alonso into 3rd. He'll stop there. It's an RBI double for Melky Cabrera, his first hit as a Cleveland Indian, and it extends the Tribe's lead to 5-0.
Well, there's that switch hitter, middle part of your lineup right there. Cabrera comes up and drilled that ball. It looked like an off-speed pitch down the 3rd base line for a double. That was a fastball down, and he gets on it, hits it down the line, and gets it past Bryant. So a big 2-out base hit here now. Makes it 5-0 Cleveland.
Two on, 2 out. Jason Kipnis leans back, but it's called a strike. Kipnis, with that walk in the 2nd inning, has reached base safely in 11 straight games. He's also picked up a hit in 4 of his last 5.
Well, for Kipnis, left-handers he's hitting 265. He's 13 for 49. Right-handers he's 140. 17 hits out of 122 at bats. Hard to figure out.
And that's one that would be that's one that would be worth exploring. Like, I wonder if there is anything to it, if you know, maybe not even consciously, but subconsciously, maybe, you know,
the approach he has,
yeah,
what he's looking for against left-handers, how he's trying to hit,
right,
stay on the baseball, maybe take it to left field. Look at
ground
this.
ball single into right field.
Go figure.
Alonso scores. Here comes the Melky. The throw is not in time. It's a 2-out, 2-run single to right for Jason Kipnis. It's a 3-run 4th, and the route is on. It's now 7-0 Cleveland.
There you go. He stayed back on that fastball and found the hole. And I have a feeling that must be it. He's concentrating on keeping that front side in, not trying to do too much. And lines a single into right. 2 more runs score, so Cabrera gets the first 2-out base hit. Kipnis follows, and they add another 3 spot on the board. Nice job of scoring with 2 outs.
because that was going to be my next question to you, Arch. If there is something to it, in Jason Kipnis' instance, if he's doing some things, maybe not even that he's thinking about, but against left-handed pitching, is there anything that you can take and then translate it to facing right-handers?
You would hope so. You would hope so. I mean, I would think it. To me, he just doesn't look like he's trying to do too much against left-handers. Pull off or try and hit the ball. Maybe he's trying to turn on the ball. I'm just saying, maybe. You'd have to sit down and have to ask him. But his approach to lefties has been fine this year.
And that's the thing. I know Andre probably feels the same way. Kip's had it talked so much about it that he probably doesn't want to talk about it. And if he's going well, if I was him, I wouldn't want to talk about it because I wouldn't want to overthink it. If it's working, just let it go and let it ride.
Well, then maybe he should try and take that same approach to the right-handed side, and I'm sure he has.
Well, you almost try to find different ways to have the conversation. If that makes, you know, you talk to him and talk about what's going on, and you don't want to bring up numbers because, as I've told you guys over the last couple of weeks, he knows what's going on, and he's mentioned to me he's trying to figure out, does he want to be the guy from 2 years ago, 3 years ago, a year and a half ago? He doesn't know himself.
No, be the guy today. Don't worry about 3 years ago.
Roberto out looking, inning over. But the Indians make it hurt with 3 2-out RBIs here in the fourth. Melky Cabrera with an RBI double. Kip a 2-run single. 7-0 Cleveland.
Because no matter where you serve or when you serve, we stand ready to serve all military families.
Now the Indians with a 7-0 lead. As we march on now to the bottom of the fourth. So far tonight, Trevor Bauer has allowed 4 hits, has struck out 2, has not walked a batter.
Got to feel good to have this offense spot him a 7 spot going into that 4th inning now. Again, he hasn't walked anybody. He has a pair of strikeouts.
Wilson Contreras, the Chicago catcher, struck out to end the first inning with runners at first and third.
3 straight pitches. That was the curveball. Then he went to get him with the slider. But now you can give him a couple fastballs with the 7-run lead. This guy has very good power too. The ball jumps off his bat, and he loves to hit the low fastball.
Fly ball, deep left. Brantley back, has room, and makes the catch. 1 down.
Well, he thought he had a home run. It's a little cooler. It looks like a changeup there. It was a 3 figures, and he left it right down the middle, and he put a good swing on. He thought he had it. Look at him. The way that's going, there it is. He thought he had it, but it's not going to get out tonight.
Yeah, and as I mentioned at the outset, it's not the wind's not knocking it down. Maybe it's just the cool air.
It is. It's not carrying like it would. If this was a warm summer night, that would have been out of here. But you know, sometimes this park can fool you. This can be a good park to pitch in sometimes.
But those of us who grew up watching a lot of baseball on WGN back in the old days, when they were a superstation team, you remember those summer afternoons when it was 12-10.
Oh yeah,
and it wasn't over.
It was a 22-20 game here one time, I think, with Philadelphia.
Yeah. Kyle Schwarber flied to center in the 2nd inning. Out of play.
It just seemed funny leaving the hotel today on that bus coming here, going the other way. Normally we go to the south side. We go to the right. Today we made the left out of the hotel. We're going to the north side.
Yeah, and it takes about the same amount of time to get to either ballpark.
Exactly. It's not a 15-minute ride.
Kyle Schwarber draws a walk. First free pass issued by Trevor Bauer tonight. Down to Andre.
Well, we know how baseball can change so quickly and how you think about a player and what you say about a player. When the Cubs were in Cleveland, Javi Baez was talked about by the Cubs, by Joe Maddon, as a guy that reminded him of Manny Ramirez when he stayed away from the slider on the outside and he swung at good pitches and he wanted him to be aggressive. Well, since April 12th, check these numbers out. Baez is cooled off. He has 0 walks. He has 30 strikeouts. Now, he does have 38 RBI, which is leading the NL.
Right.
But suddenly he's not in the top of the order now, guys. And on Saturday, Joe Maddon had to pull him from a game for starting a brouhaha
in Cincinnati.
And you see the first pitch that they started him off with right here?
He's an aggressive hitter. He always will be. And, you know, maybe that's Joe's early year trying to get him going and make him feel good about himself. But I hear what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, the other thing, Joe wants him to play with the flair that he plays with and wants him to play with the style that he plays with. But Joe admitted this weekend that can get him in trouble if he can't control his emotions throughout the game.
Took it. There you go. Just stay with it.
And Arch, I guess if you're a manager, even a hitting coach, it's tough to not take away, but when you talk to a hitter about, hey, man, you got to rein it in here. That ball's in the other batter's box. But what makes him dangerous is that aggressive mindset.
Well, Andre hit no walks, 30 strikeouts. You can't swing at everything. And guys are going to quit throwing you strikes when you're as hot as he was earlier in the year. Look at, he's throwing the bat at that ball. That ball is nowhere close to being a strike, and he's continuing to swing.
We brought this up in Houston, though, Arch. And Matt, and I want to talk to both of you guys about this. You know, when Altuve hit swings at anything and drives it to right field, we talk about how great he is at being able to hit bad pitches. Javi Baez, to me, is still in a part of his career where he doesn't know what type of hitter he's going to be. And when guys come to him, okay, it looks great. But when it doesn't, he looks really bad.
Yeah, you don't have to throw. And you know what? If he's disciplined enough and that's a really good heads-up play by Schwarber. Really good job. He saw that ball go into the dirt and just took off on the wild pitch.
I would say this, Andre, to your point. There's a difference between Jose Altuve looking for the pitch away and in a ball that's off the plate and still getting a good piece of the barrel to that baseball and getting a hit. Whereas when you watch Baez, when he swings at bad pitches, his rear end's going one way and the bat's going the other way. He's just not getting anything to it.
Jose Altuve gets 200 hits a year.
Right.
He knows the strike zone. This guy will not get 200 hits a year, I don't think ever, because he swings at too many pitches way out of the strike zone.
So you're saying it's the ability to get the 200 hits that allow. I'm asking because I agree with what Matt is saying, but I just think Baez is in a part of his career where this style has worked and got him here.
Right.
And made him pretty darn good.
And he should get more discipline as he gets older and gets more at bats, no question. But now, will he rein it into where he could get 200 hits? I don't know.
In the air to left, Michael Brantley will make the catch. And there are 2 down. And Baez, after he swung, he turned to nobody in particular, but he turned his head away from the field and just let out a collective ugh.
Well, that's funny because that's what he got mad at in Cincinnati on Saturday. And you remember the quote that I sent you, Matt?
Yeah.
About the pitcher yelling and screaming. They said it was like Lion King, and Baez didn't like it.
Well, and again, I kind of looked at it and I understood where the Cincinnati people were coming from, saying, look, Baez plays with great emotion, and there's nothing wrong with showing that emotion. But if you're going to dish it, you got to be able to take it once in a while.
Exactly.
2 down for Addison Russell, who struck out his only time up in the second.
Got a pinch hitter, Listella, on deck for the pitcher. Should Addison Russell reach.
Gets away from Roberto Perez.
That ball didn't even hit the dirt, did it?
It's hard to tell from up here. I wasn't watching the monitor, but I don't know if Perez was maybe crossed up.
Well, that's what he's going to go talk to him about. He had to be crossed up if he's going to follow him. It's a curveball, and no, he was crossed up. But that should be a pass ball. I don't think that's a wild pitch. You see, they were crossed up, no question.
They scored on a wild pitch.
Okay.
But you know, if he knows what's coming, I'm just guessing here. If he knows what's coming,
He'll catch it.
He catches that ball.
He thought it was a fastball. I mean, when you see it come out of his hands, I know it's surprise sometimes. You're probably sitting back there as a catcher thinking, okay, here's my fastball, but it certainly was not.
Well, if you can get Russell, it's a moot point with 2 down. Count stays 0-2. While we have a second, I want to send out happy birthday wishes to Sofia Salvo Monaco, celebrating her 18th birthday in Concord, Ohio.
And Marvin Karp from Toledo, turning 80. Happy birthday to you.
The 0-2, just off the outside edge. Now time called. Way outside. 2-2.
Humped up there. 97. Trying to throw a dart on the outside corner.
Swung on and missed. Down goes Russell, waving at the off-speed pitch. 3rd strikeout of the night for Trevor Bauer. 4 scoreless for the Indians right-hander. 7-0 Indians. 2018 Kia Sorrento, the perfect getaway vehicle. Visit KiaDealers.com to learn more. By Levin Furniture. For the best deals on furniture and mattresses, shop Levin's. And by your Chevy Network dealers. Visit ClickChevy.com. Chevrolet, find new roads. So far, so very good for the Indians here at Wrigley Field. A 4-run third, a 3-run fourth, and shutout ball from Trevor Bauer. And now as we head to the 5th inning, Greg Allen, Trevor Bauer, and Francisco Lindor due up for the Indians. Left-hander Mike Montgomery has worked an inning and a third out of the bullpen. He's given up 3 runs. But he'll stay on to pitch here in the 5th. Greg Allen might have broken his bat, punches it into right center field for a base hit. Trevor Bauer's only career hit. Jake Arrieta serving it up, and Bauer blasting it right back up the middle.
How about that? His only hit coming off
a guy who the Indians rocked that year, and was
did.
about the only team that got to him.
Yeah, he went on a roll after that game. I think he walked 6 in that game here in 15. Well, Bauer will be bunting here.
Bauer squares, bunts it foul. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but I remember looking at it later, and it was after the Indians beat him. It was like he didn't lose, and he barely gave up any runs the rest of the year. It was incredible.
I just saw Lindor run from our on-deck circle over to theirs. And I don't know why.
Because he's bunting it that way and he don't want to get hit.
Or attempting to bunt it. He's trying
I've
to put it
never seen that before either, though. I didn't even know you were allowed to do that as a hitter.
I didn't either. I saw him go over there, and I'm thinking to myself, but
you can pick whatever on-deck circle you want.
I don't know. No one seems to say anything.
Uh-oh. Perfectly placed for Contreras, who's able to throw out the speedy Allen.
Well, that just makes Trevor now stay on the bases. Is what it does. It just laid right down in front of home plate. Contreras, all he had to do was pick it up and throw it to second base. An easy play for him. He wanted to try and turn a double play, but when that throw, you can see Russell trying to act like a first baseman. What a good feed to try and turn the double play there.
So Lindor 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. All right, so these numbers are ridiculous. After the Indians beat Jake Arrieta in 2015, the rest of the year he was 16-1 with an ERA of 0.86.
Wow.
The only game he lost, Murph says, is when Cole Hamels no-hit him. That was the only loss he had.
I would say that's getting on a roll, huh?
Oh, it was unbelievable.
Well, he had an unbelievable year that year. I mean, years like that you dream of. I mean, there's not many that have been had like that throughout baseball ever.
Bauer at first, Lindor blasts one deep right field. Back is Zobrist over his head. One hops the ivy. Bauer lost sight of it. He'll stop at third, but the Indians have runners at second and third with 1 out after the 15th double of the year by Frankie Lindor.
Yeah, a nice job of smoking that ball, and Zobrist played very well, and Bauer, you know, he lost it. He was afraid he was going to catch it, but Trevor, it's too late. If you go, just keep right on running. But he hammered that ball to right field, and it comes right back off the wall to him. So second and third now.
And the Cubs down 7 bring the infield in, but the guys on the right side are backing up a little bit because Brantley has been hitting some rockets over that way. Both of his hits tonight have been right between the first and second baseman. And Michael has now upped his season batting average to .338 currently. Smoked foul. Look out, folks.
With that double from Francisco, he takes over the team lead now in doubles. 15. Ramirez has 14.
Don't think Hosey doesn't know it. He's
I
waiting
know
on deck.
it. Well, Lindor had what did he have, 44 last year.
Again, Michael Brantley teeing off. Andre, put a helmet on down there. You might be next.
He's got one on.
Hey, man, the way they have me sitting, if I really sat in my seat, I wouldn't even see the game. You would just see the top of my head. It's scary down here.
Andre in the foxhole.
Well, Brantley 8 for 8 in this situation.
Another good block by Contreras. Boy, he's been dynamite tonight by moving his body to block everything that's been thrown at him. And I mean, there have been at least 2 or 3 balls way out in front of home plate that he's had to block. Countless others just in the dirt. Reached for it. Little tapper back to the left-hander, and Montgomery throws to first, 2 down. Mid-game summary brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. 2 on, nobody out in the 3rd inning, and Jose Ramirez launches one into the basket for a 3-run homer. Then after a sac fly made it 4-0, Melky Cabrera with 2 on and 2 out in the 4th. Made it 5-0, and then the very next man up, Jason Kipnis, a 2-run knock into right field, plating 2 more, and it was 7-0. And that's where we stand with 2 on and 2 out now in the 5th.
They just intentionally walked Ramirez.
So that'll load him up for Yonder Alonso. They want the lefty-lefty matchup. Oh, Contreras with another good block.
Boy, he has been all over the place tonight.
I guess he's had enough practice. He feels pretty comfortable tonight. I mean, that ball was moving so quickly, he didn't have a chance to really throw his body in front of it. He really was like a hockey goalie. Just trying to knock it down. Up high with a slow curve.
I mean, we're in the 5th inning, and the first 4 guys of this lineup are already hitting for the 4th time. That's what kind of night it's been.
We've had 130 pitches thrown by the Cubs.
8 walks.
There's a long drive, deep center field. That's going to be off the wall. Bauer scores. Here comes Lindor, right behind him Ramirez. It's a bases clearing 2-out 3-run double for Yonder Alonso, and it's 10-0 Cleveland.
And another 2-out hit that does some damage. I mean, clear the bases. Alonso with his 3rd hit of the game. He's 3 for 3. He's driven in 3 in this last at bat, and he plugs the gap here with a double. His 5th of the year. So Yonder has really had a nice evening.
Now Melky Cabrera, who doubled home a run and scored in the 4th. Popped it up. Right side of the infield, Rizzo. Inning over. But the Indians continue to beat up Cub pitching here tonight, 10-0. Wrigley Field in Chicago. Adam Plutko will make the start for Cleveland. John Lester, left-hander, goes for the Cubs. Indians Live begins our coverage at 7:30 with the first pitch just after 8 o'clock Eastern Time on Sports Time Ohio and streaming on Fox Sports Go. Get a pinch hitter for Chicago here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Victor Caratini. Caratini on the year. A .266 hitter and 2 for 8 as a pinch hitter. Caratini is one of 2 switch hitters on the bench for Chicago. And I wonder, Arch, if this is a scenario where Joe Maddon's going to keep him in the game, so it'll be like a double switch deal, because you don't often pinch hit your backup catcher.
No, that's, he might make a double switch here.
Or he just may be confident that Contreras will make it through the rest of this game unharmed.
The way he's been.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, if worse comes to worse, Schwarber could come in and catch, right?
I don't know that they'd want that, but yeah, I suppose you're right. 4th strikeout for Trevor Bauer.
Polar Pop, just 79 cents every day, only at Circle K.
And that's going to bring us to the top of the order, and Ben Zobrist, who is 0 for 2 in the ballgame. Down low. Zobrist robbed of a hit in the bottom of the 1st. Nice diving stop at first base by Yonder Alonso. He grounded out to Alonso his last time up. Ball bounced out in front of the plate, and Roberto Perez throwing a body in front of it. Catchers, they're conditioned whether there's somebody on base or not. Very rarely do you see a guy just let one go to the backstop when there's nobody on base. They're just programmed. Like Pavlov's dog, I guess, right? They have to.
Well, that's, you get into good habits like that, you'll always do it when guys are on base. But there are times I'm sure they feel like, just let me go. You know, I've already blocked enough of my arms and legs are killing me.
3-2, and it's just outside. I cannot believe Bauer doesn't get that call. But it's ball 4. And the Cubs have a 1-out base runner.
Well, here you go. Take a look at it. Well, it's borderline right there. That is awfully close. Fastball right there. Look at Bauer. He wanted the call. You can't blame him. Can't blame him at all.
2nd walk of the night brings up Albert Almora Jr. Into the alley. Cut off by Melky Cabrera. On his way to 3rd is Zobrist. Here's a throw to 2nd, and they got him. What in the world is Almora doing there?
Well, he wasn't thinking. That's one thing. And that's the 2nd straight game where Cabrera has been able to throw out a base runner. Did it in Houston at 3rd base, and he got to that ball in a hurry. And he was challenging Almora. If you want to go ahead. It's 10-0. And he was out by a lot. Wasn't even close. So that's just bad base running.
Let me ask you the obvious question. Is this a case where, hey, let's challenge this guy? He hasn't been playing. He just just got back into playing baseball right now, or is this just bad base running period?
It's just bad base running period. You don't want to challenge. You're down 10 runs. If you're going, you better make it. Just bad base run, unless he wants to keep running until you tag him, playing the Little League version.
I thought his slide kind of told you everything you needed to know about the decision.
Right.
He wasn't really sliding to get to the bag. He was sliding as if, I hope
Take
there's a hole I can
Let's crawl
maybe
into.
I'll disappear.
Walk underneath the infield to the dugout.
Now here's Chris Bryant. Doubled his last time up. You know, you go back to that game Trevor Bauer pitched here in the World Series, Game 5. It was a win and take the World Championship back to Cleveland if the Indians could have gotten it done. They led 1-0, and then in the 4th inning, Chris Bryant hit a leadoff home run. They tied the score, and it seemed like, okay, hey, it's one swing of the bat, game's tied, no big deal. But it got this ballpark, which had been deadly silent through all 3 of those World Series games. This park came alive, even though it was just one home run, just a solo shot. But it became sort of a living, breathing thing. They scored 2 more runs that inning, and it turned the tide in the World Series. And I remember I was sitting in on Joe Maddon's press conference the day before, or maybe it was that night before the game, and a reporter asked him, you know, what would you say to Cubs fans, forlorn Cubs fans coming into this game? He's like, I said, I'd tell them be nervous, be very nervous, because if we don't win, it's over.
Yeah.
Not that he was telling his players that, but he was telling the fans it's okay to be nervous. But here tonight, it's the Indians who are getting it done. Trevor Bauer has fan 5, and Melky Cabrera with a big assist from the outfield. He's made 5 appearances since he got called up from AAA back on May the 9th. He's walked 6, struck out 8, and opponents are just 2 for 19 against him. Jason Kipnis will lead off for the Indians here in the 6th, so let's flashback to Game 4 of that Fall Classic here at Wrigley Field, and kaboom for Jason Kipnis. Pointing to his family up in the stands. And then after the game, when Andre and I were down on the field doing our post-game interviews, they were all crowded down there right by the on-deck circle with their signs. They were going bananas. Kip pops one foul back out of play. Tyler Chatwood, the Cubs starter, knocked out in the 3rd inning here tonight. Jason with a high fly ball deep to left field. Back on the track just shy of the ivy. Kyle Schwarber pulls it down. One away. Tyler Chatwood was only averaging 5 1/3 innings per start this year, but this was his shortest of the year, tagged for 4 runs in 2 2/3. Then Mike Montgomery came on, went 2 1/3 innings, and he got touched for 6 runs on 6 hits. Now Justin Hancock here in the 6th inning. Roberto Perez, an RBI with a sac fly in the 3rd inning. And a strike call. Roberto doesn't like it. He's in the hole 0-2, and it's just I don't know what it is, but it's an age-old story in baseball. When a guy's struggling, it seems like the count is always 0-2. Takes just off the outside corner. Now he's worked it back to even at 2-2. And the 2-2 on its way. And Roberto with a bouncer to second. Baez fell to his knees, gets up and throws about 2 down. When you ride with the Indians in Velasano, your registration is free. Plus, you get an Indian cycling jersey. All the money goes to cancer research at Cleveland Clinic. Visit velasano.org/Indians for details on how to join up. This is a great town for those of you maybe who have not visited the Windy City. If you're a cycling enthusiast, this is a great time. There have to be, I don't know how many miles of lakefront track that you can ride your bike, you can run, walk your dog.
Faster than the traffic. You can beat the cars.
Greg Allen looks at a fastball low. Allen's been on all three times safely tonight. He's walked twice and singled. And he's bidding for another. But a terrific play at second base by Javi Baez nails him. Baez, an all-out diving stop. He didn't come up with it cleanly, but he was able to gather himself and just barely retires the speedy Greg Allen to end the inning.
Rewards, and today's Tribe Rewards code is Zimmer. Visit Indians.com for complete details. Speaking of, Andre, you got anything on Zimmer?
You know I do. Today he took full BP. He's feeling better. Tito hopes that he'll be able to play baseball by the end of the week or the weekend. I asked him, does that mean he'll go on a rehab or will he just come right back and be with the team? He looked at me in a weird way and he didn't want to give me an answer. So that means he probably will have to go out on a rehab assignment is what he's guessing. But I think if it was up to Tito, he hopes he's able to play right away. Lonnie Chisenhall, while we still got a second, if you're all right with that, did play last night, picked up 2 hits for Columbus, went through everything today, did not play, will play again for Columbus tomorrow night, play about 5 to 6 innings tomorrow night, and they'll go from there. And also we're about 7 to 10 days away from Nick Goody, hopefully being able to throw and get back on a mound. So guys are getting healthier slowly but surely for the Cleveland Indians.
Andre, is there anything on Tyler Naquin and where his status is at for that hamstring injury?
Yeah, you know, Tito said that he talked to him today, but he really kind of left it at that and said that, you know, after talking to him, he hopes that he's able to do more drills, and they hope they'll have more information on Tyler when we get back to Cleveland.
All right, so there you have it. Everything wrapped up neatly.
Andre's in charge of the MASH unit.
They're more my speed.
Hawkeye not. Swing and a miss. It's 0-2 on Anthony Rizzo, who is singled and flied out tonight. Here's a look at the Indians shift with Kipnis manning shallow right field.
Oh boy.
Right to him.
How about that? Can you play him any better than that right there? Just barely had to jump a little bit to catch it.
That's how you draw it up.
Yeah, no kidding. That's exactly what you do. If he's going to hit it, there you go. A little jump, make the catch, easy out.
I was going to ask you about that earlier. When Rizzo singled in the first inning, you know, he's one of those guys who's, for a big guy, he's choked up on the bat.
Sure.
And in that first swing, he didn't have a home run big guy swing. It was just kind of a short, let me get the bat to the ball, and flicked it.
Base hit.
Yeah, there's a rocket in the left field off the bat of Contreras. Just don't see that anymore. Nowadays, it seems like everybody's almost programmed for one swing. I'm going to try to hit the ball, elevate it, hit it out of here. In fact, you look at Contreras, his last time up, leading off the inning, he wasn't thinking about a base hit. He was trying to hit one out of here. And he hit a high fly ball that Brantley caught on the warning track and left. He was already celebrating at home plate, thinking he had hit it out, but embarrassingly had to head back to the dugout with just a fly ball out. Now Kyle Schwarber, who walked in the fourth. Moved to second and third on a couple of wild pitches, but was stranded there. Indians have the shift on for Schwarber, but Kipnis is on the dirt, not out in shallow right field this time. And a high fastball, 2-0.
Schwarber so far in his first 2 at-bats has shown me he's trying to stay on the baseball and he's not trying to pull everything. Flew out to center in his first at-bat, but it was into left center field. And that's exactly where Allen's playing him, almost like a right-handed pull hitter.
Yeah.
So they figure pull on the ground, opposite field in the air. Unless you make a mistake with him, because he can really turn on it. See that approach? That's really a nice approach right there. Stay down and hit a nice line drive to left center field.
2 hits in the inning for Chicago. Let's go back to the final play of the top half of this inning. Javier Baez covering a lot of ground to make a heck of a play on the speedy Greg Allen.
Well, he's got a shortstop. He's a shortstop. He's got a shortstop arm, and he can play anywhere on that infield. A very talented guy. I mean, he's playing second base. They have Addison Russell playing short.
2 on, 1 out. Baez flied to left his last time up.
Well, and swung at a lot of pitches out of the strike zone. See if Trevor comes back and just tries to attack him with the breaking ball away again, because he swung at pitches that were actually a foot and a half off the plate before he flew out to left field.
Well, that one maybe wasn't where he wanted it.
No, it was a flat slider, but he still had him out in front. That's just the group. You know, when you have that leg kick like Baez has, it's all a timing thing. If you don't get it down, when you're in timing and you get that foot down and everything's in rhythm, he smokes the ball. And he's got tremendous power. When you're out of whack a little bit and you're out front and you can see what happens, you chase pitches, you swing at pitches you should never go after. But look at that.
Wow.
Look at that.
That ball bounced in front of the plate and ended up on the top of the back screen.
And he still swung. This is almost, he would have had to hit this ball on a hop. It's a curveball. There it is, out in front. He still swung. It wasn't even close.
It hit the helmet of Roberto Perez. That's why it carried him so high up onto the screen. Wow. He missed that by a good 4 feet.
So you can certainly tell his rhythm, his tempo, his feeling in that batter's box is not where it should be.
And the 0-2. If you're Roberto right now, you're saying, I know we don't want to throw him a strike, but give me a break.
It keeps getting wider.
I can't be in 2 places at once, you know. And because he's continuing to swing, you wouldn't try to go back in off the plate.
No reason to. If he's just going to try and flare one to right field if he keeps throwing them out there.
Oh, beautiful curveball, and he strikes him out. 2 down.
It's number 6 for Trevor. But boy, he's got him fishing today, man. He's got the line and the hook, line, and sinker, and he's going for everything. He's just not in rhythm. He goes down, leaves 2 men out there, and now you got 1 more to go to get the 3rd out here in the 6th inning.
And up comes Addison Russell, who has struck out twice here tonight. Slowly chopped toward 3rd. That's going to trickle foul. You know, when I was a kid watching games on WGN, the Cubs were bad in a lot of those years. You'd turn them on. You'd watch maybe for the visiting team. You'd watch just to see what maybe Harry Carey would say on an afternoon game. But I remember seeing him on David Letterman one time, and he said, you know, the Cubs were, I mean, they were already 15, maybe 20 games out of first place coming out of the All-Star break. They played the only day game out of the All-Star break in the majors that year, and they outdrew every other team in baseball on a day game against, it was like maybe the Padres, who were also 15 games out of first place.
Right.
Just there's something about the Cubs fans that come.
Oh,
I don't want to say now, because maybe there are some spoiled Cubs fans since they won the World Series, and maybe some Johnny-come-latelys jumping on the bandwagon types.
Sure.
But back in those days, when they truly were not a very good team, they'd still draw 20, 30,000 fans a game.
They were always the best draw out there for a team that never won 107 or 108 years. What was it? And they still had a great following. It's amazing, and you're saying, how does that happen? They own the town of Chicago. I mean, even if they went on the south side.
Ramirez throws to first. What a scoop by Alonso to retire the side, and Trevor Bauer has tossed 6 shutout innings here at Wrigley Field. Nice play on the other end by Yonder Alonso. Visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. And by the injury lawyers at Elk & Elk. Proud partners of the Cleveland Indians. Call 1-800-ELK, Ohio. 10-0. The Indians routing the Cubs here in Chicago tonight. Eric Gonzalez is going to bat for Trevor Bauer, so his night will be over after 6 shutout innings of work. Justin Hancock, who worked a scoreless 6th inning, stays on to pitch for the Cubs. And Eric Gonzalez, you can see there, swinging the bat very effectively for the Indians. And as a pinch hitter, he's gone 2 for 8. But more importantly, in the last 7 games he started in the month of May, he's had 11 hits and 24 at bats. Fastball, bottom of the zone for a called strike. Swung on and missed. Good fastball. That was up to 97 from Hancock. 1 away. That'll take us back to the top of the order and Francisco Lindor. Fouled right back.
Oh, baby.
Down the left field line. That's going to stay fair. Kicks off the sidewall. Lindor turns. He'll go for 2. Here's the throw way off line. And the Indians have a runner in scoring position with 1 out. And Frankie Lindor has his 2nd double on the night.
This is a thing of beauty right here. I mean, look at that pitch down, and he didn't do too much. He stayed on it. A nice smooth swing. Hit it where it's pitched. Beautiful.
So to compare, or rather contrast, where Lindor's at right now swinging the bat to Baez of Chicago.
Oh my goodness.
Lindor gets his foot down and he's able to just wait on that pitch.
Yeah, and just hit it. I mean, just played pepper with it. He didn't swing hard. Just a really good swing. His 2nd straight double. Indians have 4 doubles today to go along with the home run. So 5 of the 11 hits are extra base hits. 8 walks. They've had their share of base runners, man. They've had some guys running the base paths. Four guys on this ball club have scored 2 runs. A couple of more scoring 1.
Yeah, you know, sometimes as we await the pitch to Brantley, 0-2 up high, sometimes as announcers we are often accused of overdoing it with the hyperbole, but Tyler Chatwood was truly all over the place tonight, and that's where the Indians,
yes, he was,
you know, had 6 walks in the first 3 innings of this game. Brantley with a 1-hopper to 2nd. Baez will flip it on to 1st. Lindor moves to 3rd. There are 2 away.
Let's take a look at Frankie's last 2 at-bats. One from the right side, one from the left. There's a breaking ball up and away. He drives it over the head of Zobrist in right field. And now this one, a little fastball, a little low darter, hits it the other way. 2 doubles, you know, from both sides of the plate. That's really, I mean, that's plate coverage. That's under control. Nice swing.
Especially on 2 completely different pitches.
That's right. A breaking ball up, stay that way. A little low fastball away, go the other way.
Is it wrong for me to think it's even more impressive that he knew that that was something he was struggling with, and he started working on it about 3 weeks ago, and now he's been driving things the other way on both sides of the plate?
Yeah, that's, well.
I mean, we talk about Baez's situation. Look at what Frankie's at. He knew he was struggling on outside pitches and went and worked on it.
Well, that's the one thing this kid does. He always works. He works very hard at everything, and well, he'll get it right if there's anything wrong. There's not much wrong right now.
Well, you said 3 weeks ago, right?
Correct.
Last 19 games, not including tonight, he's batting .386. And he's 2 for 4 with 2 doubles here tonight. So
he did that last year, if you remember. Right, Andre? He started working to left center field and working his way over and working back.
And it was the same deal last year. Remember, he looked at the charts and people were playing him to pull.
Right.
And he didn't like how it looked when he looked at the charts. He said, that's not who I am. I don't want to be played that way. And that changed his whole season. This year, he didn't like how he was swinging against outside pitches from both sides, and went to both hitting coaches and said, I need to work on this. I don't like how my body feels when I'm swinging at outside pitches, and it's changed everything for him.
He's made the adjustment, and this is a game of adjustments. And another walk. 9 walks by Cubs pitching tonight.
I think it's interesting to kind of piggyback Andre's story. You know, pitchers always say, encouraged by their pitching coaches, to be your own pitching coach out there on the mound, because I can't go out there and stand with you. So you've got to make some adjustments in game on your own. Same thing holds true for a hitter. You know, it's better if a hitter realizes, hey, something's wrong, and they come to you and say, help me to fix it, as opposed to the coach always having to go to the player, because sometimes that doesn't work.
You're right. You have to make your own adjustments, because you're the only guy in that box, in that batter's box, that can do it. They can tell you everything till they're blue in the face, but.
Bouncing ball to first. Rizzo with a good feed, and that will retire the side. Stretch time here at Wrigley in Chicago, with the Indians rolling tonight 10-0. Not as easy as it looks, folks.
No, I'll tell you what. You know, I knew he'd be nervous. I don't know if he forgot the words or what, but
standing over a 8-foot putt. He's got tremendous poise.
There is. Oh boy.
Now let's get some runs.
It was the best part right there.
Yeah, he was glad it was over.
Oliver Drake coming on to pitch now for the Indians here in the 7th inning. He's got the bottom of the Cubs order leading. Oh, actually, Justin Hancock's going to bat for himself.
Yeah, he's going to suck up a couple more innings if he can. Well, the nice thing, Trevor Bauer went his 6th inning, 7 hits, 2nd straight start. He hasn't allowed a run. He had 2 walks, struck out 6, 3 wild pitches tonight.
Eric Gonzalez stays in the game. He takes over at 3rd base for Jose Ramirez. Swing and a miss by Hancock. And the count of ball and 2 strikes. You know, watching Bubba attempt to sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," it reminds me of the story that Harry Carey used to tell about how that whole tradition began. And I was interested to hear his story because it actually started when he was working on the other side of town, when he was working
White Sox.
for the Chicago White Sox. And Bill Veeck, one-time owner of the Indians, was then the owner of the White Sox. And Harry said that Bill Veeck had noticed that during the 7th inning stretch, he would look up in the booth and he would see Harry singing to himself. He said, except at that time, the only people who could hear him were his partner and the guy in the back of the booth, the engineer. So Bill Veeck arranged to secretly install a PA mic in the booth. And one night, Harry started singing and he said, I could hear my voice booming back to me over the PA system. And so he said, after the game, I thought, well, what the heck's going on? So he said, I ran into Bill Veeck. And I said, Bill, how come you had a PA mic in the booth? And he said, Harry, and he said, now I'm expecting that he's going to give me some because you're such a great singer kind of thing. And what Bill Veeck said to him was like, well, I figured if everybody heard you singing it, they wouldn't be afraid to chime in and sing because I figured they could sing just as well as you. And that's how the tradition began.
Leave it to Bill Veeck.
And then, of course, when he came over here to Wrigley, brought the tradition with him.
When I broke in 75, Harry was over there with the White Sox with the Jimmy Pearsall.
Right,
they were doing the game.
Yep.
Yeah. Before he came to the north side of town.
And now they keep that tradition going here at Wrigley with a different singer every game.
Yes, they do. Some are pretty good. Some are average, some are bad, but
and
they do it.
Some are big-time stars and
absolutely
national personalities, political figures, you name it, they've had them all.
Can we get Arch to do it?
No, they would not have me do
we can do it at home. Well, you know people. We can get you to do it one time at home.
We know people.
Come on, Matt. Let's get to I want to hear Arch sing it.
You're the one down in the dugout with the microphone. You go right ahead.
They would never hear me. And then just
we want to hear the Taz. You don't need your mic. You just start singing.
I want to hear you do it.
Why is that?
Because you got the dance moves and everything, Warren. Other side of town. I've watched you. The people need to see it and know.
Have you ever sang ever in public on a microphone?
No.
Oh, absolutely not. Are you kidding me? Are you serious?
Yeah.
I'm not allowed.
Ground ball to third. Gonzalez goes to second, and a one-hop throw to Kipnis in time to get the lead runner. 2 down.
Smart play by Kip there, just to take the one hop and just get out of there. Gonzalez probably should have went to first base with this throw, but he wanted to get the lead runner, and it looked like he had a little tough time getting it out. That's why he short hopped it, but it wasn't bad. Kip just gets the force play at second.
Now 2 gone for Chris Bryant, who doubled back in the third inning.
karaoke or something? No. Are you a karaoke guy? You probably are, because you're a Dean Martin fan. I know you.
There's a pitch. I'm actually, you know who my go-to is?
Who's that?
Bob Seger.
Get out.
Turn the page. That's my go-to karaoke song. I don't know if Andre's heard that act before. I don't think
that's
so.
That's ironic. Then you're singing on my phone all the time.
Every time I hear it, I think I should start singing. Yeah.
I haven't heard the act, but I've heard about the act.
Yeah, it's good.
Can't wait. Don't worry, I'm gonna work on you next, Matty.
You're a Bob Seger, man.
We'll be a traveling road show in the off season.
Hotel California by the Eagles. That's my other go-to.
For some reason, I knew you had to be a karaoke guy.
Popped him up. Is it playable though? Alonso to the screen and just beyond his reach. We have an annual tradition now that we started a couple of years ago in spring training. We go to a local place, and I forget what night it is during the week, they have karaoke night. And it's we actually, one of our crew members was heckled and taunted and booed during a karaoke number. I've never seen that before or since.
You guys don't have any video on your phones?
I wish we did. We weren't smart enough to pull them out.
I was going to say.
We were stunned. I mean, this girl just started heckling this poor guy, and we didn't know what to do. We kind of felt bad, but
I would have left.
We were laughing.
I would have snuck out the door. Let him stay up on stage by himself. He's singing.
I mean, he's trying to sing the song, and she's just like 4 feet away from him, saying,
abusing him.
Terrible. You're the worst.
Now
yeah.
You know what it's like to be a ball player. I got to hear that story in between innings.
2-2. Checked, and Perez with a good job to block it. Chris Bryant doubled back in the third, struck out swinging to end the fifth. A 1-for-3 performance for the Cubs third baseman. Runner goes, 3-2 pitch. Just a little low. Ball 4. Inning continues now. And Anthony Rizzo will be the batter. I will say this too, just to finish this up. Years ago, we were at a place, I believe it was in San Francisco, and Scott Ellerton, remember the old right-handed pitcher?
Right.
He got up and sang Johnny Cash song. I mean,
Dead on.
You'd have thought Johnny Cash had just come out of the grave and walked into place.
Yeah.
It was spot on. Best karaoke Johnny Cash I've ever heard.
He lived in Colorado, right? And he was a country guy.
He was really good, yeah. Anthony Rizzo, 1-for-3. He had a single back in the first, and he's a guy that stands on top of the plate, as Arch said earlier. Chokes up a little bit on the bat.
Slightly open stance.
And he can get to that inside pitch, and a lot of times he keeps it fair, which is hard to do. But we've seen him do it. Gets away from Roberto, and the runners both move up on the wild pitch, and that's a fourth wild pitch of the night for the Indians.
Look at that's his split fastball right there. That's the split. It bounces and it gets underneath Perez right there. He thought that ball was going to come a little higher, and I think it hit the umpire and held in check.
The official score, asleep at the wheel, ruled out a pass ball.
Well, he'll change that. That's a wild pitch.
Now the 1-1. Hit well to center, but not deep enough. Allen will make the grab, and the inning is over. 7 complete, 10-0 Indians.
I'm already going. I'm not going. It's tough to do it, Al. You're on your own. You're a solo act. You always have been.
Melky Cabrera will lead off the 8th for the Indians. And Justin Hancock with a fastball strike.
I think you guys, you, Andre, and Jensen should sing, and Al and I will be the, the judges.
There's a fly ball. Left field near the line, foul and out of play. You know how I used to get on you. I'd give you grief for making a reference that was, maybe a little too far back.
Yeah.
When he said golden ticket, my first thought was, is he going to do a Willy Wonka song?
It was.
I'm thinking, uh-oh, I'm starting to slip. It's starting to go. Here's the 1-2 now to Cabrera. Chops it up the middle, but with that shift on, the shortstop Russell is in place to make the play. Well, Melky Cabrera just played his first Indians game Sunday night. And here this evening, got his first Indians hit. And it was an RBI double with 2 outs in the 4th inning. And defensively, he's already thrown out 2 guys on the bases.
Yeah, how about that? Well, in Houston, and this one here, it was a 10-0 game at that time. No reason for Elmore to go in that situation, but he nailed them.
Jason Kipnis sends one to left. Schwarber near the line makes the catch.
Well, 12,500 fans will receive a Terry Francona 1988 Indians jersey. That'll take place Saturday, May 26th. Indians will host the Astros before the game. Go on out to the district in pregame, presented by Budweiser, and then there's going to be fireworks display presented by Wayside Furniture after the game. Go to Indians.com for your tickets.
Swing and a miss. You know, I think one of the questions that we certainly had with regards to Melky Cabrera was figuring that primarily he'd be playing right field because you're not going to displace Michael Brantley, and I don't think he's going to play much in center. So I wasn't sure how much right field he had played recently, but last year when he went to Kansas City, 46 games in right field. But prior to that, he hadn't played much right field at all. You have to go back. The last time he played at least 46 games in right field, you have to go back to 2009 when he was with the Yankees.
Yeah, so. He was the first time he was in Kansas City. He always had a pretty good arm. But you know, it may take him a little while to play himself into shape. When you're talking about the batter's box and things like that, you know, he's got to play a little catch up. He was one of those free agents that nobody signed. As you said, he had a pretty darn good numbers and couldn't get a job.
Well, and I'm sure a lot of it had to do with the financials. I mean, he was I want to say $15 million player last year. That was what the final year of his contract was paying him. So if he went out on the market looking for those kind of dollars, those offers just weren't out there this year.
No, they were not, to a lot of people.
The 1-2. Hancock has gone 2 2/3 scoreless. He's the only Cubs pitcher tonight to not allow a run to this point. And he's pitched 3 scoreless in relief. We go to the bottom of the 8th, 10-0 Cleveland. For dealers, make Chatwood get in the zone. Well, they worked him. They worked him over and knocked him out of the box. His shortest outing of the season. And Trevor Bauer, once again, has the Cubs number.
Yeah, looking to go 3-0. in his career against him, 2-0 this year. Second straight start, he has not allowed a run. He was in the top 10 in ERA coming in. Certainly should improve upon that. That number will go down. Now it's time for Danny Otero to come in and get some work for the 15th time this year.
Chopped to third base. Eric Gonzalez fields it cleanly. And a perfect feed to Alonso for out number 1. Well, this is what Trevor Bauer was able to do tonight. 6 innings. Scattered 7 hits. He walked a couple. And struck out a half dozen. And while he wasn't maybe as efficient as he has been at sometimes this year, he had a big lead, and he kind of pitched to the lead.
He pitched to the lead.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. He had 3 wild pitches, but he had a good breaking ball tonight. He had a good curveball. He had guys swinging at that pitch and really expanded their strike zone.
Swing and a miss by Kyle Schwarber, who is 1 for 2 with a walk tonight.
Bauer was 7th in the league in ERA. Just ahead of him was Kluber.
God, he's out looking.
See a good little moving fastball, and Schwarber takes it, and out comes Tito. So 2 outs are Otero's going to get. He wants to bring in, I think Andrew Miller was up and throwing in that bullpen. But
timeout for a pitching change. 10-0 Cleveland. Meets his biggest fan. Corey Kluber moves up the all-time rankings and the plays of the week. Tribe Report right after Indians Live, following the game on Sports Time Ohio and streaming on Fox Sports Go. Andrew Miller making his 15th appearance this year. 1 up, 2 down, a 3.09 ERA. He'll be facing Javier Baez, who is 1 for 3 on the night. In the air, right field, long run for Melky Cabrera, can't get it. Baez on his way to third. Kipnis' throw, not in time. And that's about the only thing Cubs fans have had to cheer about tonight.
Yeah, that ball was sliced down the right field line. Cabrera was off the line, playing him towards right center field, and you can see the pitch is up, and it's a 2-0 fastball that he was able to get to. That ball actually checked up on Cabrera there. It didn't go into his glove, and that enabled Baez to go for third. So a 2-out triple.
And Addison Russell lifts one to center. Greg Allen will make the catch. 8 complete from Wrigley. 10-0 Cleveland. And may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians. Ninth inning here at Wrigley Field. And the Indians blowing out the Cubs tonight 10-0. New pitcher for Chicago, left-hander Justin Wilson. Justin Hancock gave Chicago 3 scoreless innings tonight with only 1 hit, 1 walk allowed, struck out a pair. Greg Allen leading off.
20th time that Wilson's coming into a ball game. You know, and it is rare when you hit at the bottom part of the lineup, especially in a National League park, that you're getting 5 at bats. And this is Allen's 5th plate appearance. He walked his first 2 times, had a base hit, grounded out to second base. So that's nice when you can hit down in that lineup and you get 5 ABs.
Granted, they play in 2 different leagues, but it's kind of odd that we just played the Astros, who have 1 left-hander in their bullpen.
Right.
And now you see the Cubs, they have 3 left-handers in their bullpen. We've already seen Montgomery, now Justin Wilson, and they also have Brian Dunsing.
That's right.
Former Minnesota lefty. Big hop at short for Addison Russell. 1 down. Pat O'Brien Chevrolet play of the game. Back in the 3rd inning. Jose Ramirez launched a 3-run homer. And the Indians were out of the gates and running. 10 unanswered runs here tonight. Trevor Bauer made it stand up, and the bullpen has followed suit. 2 down. Top of the order, Francisco Lindor. He has 2 hits, 2 doubles, 2 runs scored. You mentioned before, you know, he was hitting .472 the first 2 weeks of May.
Yeah, he
took
took off.
Nobody keeps that up. You know,
yeah.
But where he's at offensively, to go back to the conversation we had earlier with Andre, where Frankie recognized, hey, there's some things I need to do better on pitches away from both sides of the plate. And the work that he's put in, I think that minimizes some of those valleys. So instead of a 3 for 23 turning into a 3 for 30 or beyond, bang, he stops it tonight with a 2 for 4.
And what does he say? He and Ramirez, what do they say? And we talked about it, where was it, in Houston with Andre? They want to be consistent like Michael Brantley. So, you know, things like that to, you know, to keep that swing on a consistent basis, the same and fluid, and day after day after day. And they have to work on it from both sides of the plate. That's what makes it tougher for these guys. They're switch hitters. And that's the amazing thing. They've got to apply more work to it. And that's their goal, and they're doing a great job.
And Lindor, with 2 outs and a 10-0 game, he's still not going to expand his strike zone. He's going to take the walk.
Take the walk and don't give up an at bat.
Michael Brantley. Cuts and misses. Brantley 2 for 5 on the night. Started the night 4th in the American League in batting average. Mookie Betts was at the top of the leaderboard hitting .365, and his teammate J.D. Martinez was 2nd at .343. Then Manny Machado with an identical .343 average, followed by Michael Brantley. Interesting that the 10th best batting average in the American League coming into tonight was held by D. Gordon at 304.
Yeah, he just went on the DL, too.
Which means that Lindor at 298, Ramirez at 295 coming into tonight. They're sneaking up. They're going to be in the top 10 before long. We'll go to the bottom of the ninth in Chicago with the Indians up 10. Following our lead, huh? New pitcher for the Indians is Josh Tomlin. Working out of the bullpen now. Adam Pletko will make the start for the Indians tomorrow. Now let's see what we have. Rajay Davis takes over in left field for Michael Brantley. And I think that's the only other change.
I think you are correct.
Ian Happ's going to pinch hit to lead off the bottom of the ninth for Chicago. Let's go down to Andre with more on the situation now with Josh Tomlin pitching out of the bullpen, Adam Pletko, because I'm sure people are wondering, is this one of those, this is how we're going forward, or is this a short-term break?
It's a good question, and it's not getting answered completely by the staff. I think that means that it could go on for a little while. It's not a hit towards Josh Tomlin. I know that talking to Tito before the game, he appreciates what Josh has brought and what he's done, but he also wants to give Adam a true chance. He feels like what they were able to see in that second game of that doubleheader against Toronto was real. What else they also like is that he went back down to Columbus and he continued pitching well, and he hasn't pitched bad so far this season, and I think they want to look at their options going forward and what they have. And the one thing Tito said is they can do this because Josh Tomlin is who Josh Tomlin is.
Right.
The best teammate on the team, a guy that's willing to do whatever it takes, a guy that's not going to complain, and if they need him back in the rotation in a week and a half, 2 weeks, they know that he'll take the ball, won't make any words about it, and he'll be prepared and ready.
2-2. Deep right field. Gone. Ooh. Ian Happ breaks up the shutout here in the ninth. And that, without a doubt, is the most alarming issue with Josh Tomlin this year. He's pitched 31 innings, and that is now 16 home runs allowed.
Yeah, he just messed around down and in. And that's the nitro zone for left-handers. And he came right out of the chute, got ahead of him 0-2. He throws strikes, but you can't make many mistakes.
Top of the order, Ben Zobrist looks at a ball outside. Center field, Greg Allen. 1 down. You know what? We've known him a long time, his whole career in Cleveland. And Josh would be the first to admit to you, and he already has, that, you know, he hasn't pitched well, and he hasn't pitched as well as he knows he's capable of pitching, even still at this point in his career. But Arch, you know as well as I do that pride is sometimes very difficult to swallow in this game. And starting pitchers with as many innings under their belt as Josh Tomlin, there'd be some of them say, no, I'm not going to the bullpen.
Well, you're right. That could happen. But Josh has never been like that, and he never will be. It's not in his makeup. He's always been a team-first guy. And look, when you give up home runs, you know he's on the downside of his career, and he has to make his pitches when he can. You know, and if you don't, they seem to hit him out. But I'll tell you what, he could go out there also and dazzle and get outs and have quick innings and help this ball club some way, shape, or form. And Tito really believes that, and they'll find a way. He's going to give up home runs. That's fine. Solo shots, yes, but we'll see. He's going to work his craft and try and get out there and help this ball club some way.
And who knows? We've seen it before. Sometimes a starter goes to the bullpen, and they kind of reinvent themselves. You have time to sit down there and talk nothing but pitching with everybody else, and maybe
he's a
tinker
strike
little
thrower
bit.
anything. He's a strike thrower anyway. He doesn't have to be more aggressive. He just got to find his way and just paint and just stay out of the middle of the plate. You know, he's a fly ball pitcher. He's not going to make excuses. He's going to take the ball when given, and he's going to give you his best effort, and that's all you can ask.
Now the 1-1.
And he's one guy, because he doesn't throw as hard as the other pitchers on this staff, that has to pitch inside. He's got to use both sides of the plate, and he's got to use everything he has to offer. Cutter, fastball, curveball, changeup.
Right out in front of the plate, Roberto Perez throws him out. Indians in a convincing series opening win over the Cubs throttle Chicago by a final score of 10-1. Indians back to 500 at 23-23 on the year. Cubs, after winning back-to-back games, fall to 25-20. Winning pitcher Trevor Bauer, he's now 4-3. The loss goes to Tyler Chatwood. He is